Hello everybody, James Russ here, and I want to go ahead and walk you through errors and omissions insurance. Errors and omissions insurance is going to be the insurance policy that we as professional insurance agents, we got to have this so that we can get contracts with insurance companies. So if you've ever seen this puzzle before on putting together an insurance agency, you're going to notice that the errors and omissions section is a key component. Errors and omissions is going to be a requirement by all insurance companies so that you can get the contracts to work with them. Now, errors and omissions is going to be set up in a way that there's really two different ways to do it. You can either have an errors and omissions policy for you as an individual, or you can have one set up that's going to cover all of your agents that come into your agency. So we do offer a class on how to set up an agency, and we get a lot more in detail in this section. But I really want to focus right now on really what it is and, how do you get it? What are the questions that you need to answer to get it, and the process of doing so. So the most important aspect to look at this is sometimes you hear it called E&O, and insurance companies require that you have this policy in place, because what's really happening is if you're going to work with clients and you have insurance companies that you're going to have contracts with, and you're right here in the middle. The client comes to you, you work with the insurance company. The insurance company wants to make sure that there's a buffer between you and the client in case you make an error or omit to doing something. So they require that you have this policy right here in the middle to protect them and to protect you in case there's an issue with a client. Like I said, you make an error or omit to doing something. So insurance companies want to make sure there's that layer of protection. The cost of the policy is really determining on a lot of factors. So for example, really how much volume you're doing. If you're doing a lot of business, if you think about it, you're really being exposed to making more and more mistakes. Like anything, if I'm going to make 1,000 cheeseburgers, I might drop a couple, right? It might just happen, they might fall off the grill. How long you've been in business, your history, the number of agents that you want covered under that policy, along with some other factors. And when I do the quote here in a minute, it'll all kind of make sense. So you're going to notice that the property and casualty E&O is a little bit more expensive because you're able to bind coverage. Now it says annually $1,000 to $1,300, and that's for a new person. But you got to understand, it really depends upon the line of insurance that you're writing. So auto insurance, homeowners, commercial, and these are all individually underwritten, which is why we asked that question in the application. Now you'll notice I left this right here, life and health usually cost between, I left it blank, and usually it's probably going to come in at about $500 to $600, but it depends upon, in the health insurance world, if you're doing Medicare, or in the life insurance world, if you're offering annuities, because there's a different exposure there. So you really got to think about, everybody has a different offering of products, and the insurance company wants to know, well, what are you going to offer the public? What are we really agreeing to here? That's really the concept behind it. So an E&O policy, and I want to jump right in. This is just an example of an older deck page. I really want to jump in real quick and show you the information that's needed to do a quote. So first of all, where do you find this information? If you come to the MikeRuss website, mikeruss.org, and you come to this button right here, Student Resources, you're going to find this information right here, including this video, under Errors and Omissions Insurance. And you can click here to get started. So at that point, once you click there, there'll be a link, and on that link, it's going to ask you the following questions. First thing is, and once again, we're here to help you if you need any help. If for some reason you feel a little overwhelmed doing all this, you can always go ahead and click on this link right here and schedule an appointment with an agent that kind of walk you through the questions if you feel like it's a little overwhelming, or maybe this is your first time getting errors and omissions insurance. We want to make sure that you know what's going on. So the first question is, what's your business structure? Are you going to be working as an individual, which is a sole proprietor, or maybe you're setting up a corporation or an LLC? So we have to choose an entity type. Let's just go sole proprietor. When do you want the coverage to begin? Oh, I want it to start. I'm going to launch my business, let's say June 20th, 2024. This is when the coverage will go into effect. The client's first name, pretty simple, James. Last name, Russ. Phone number, give the number. Give us a good email to reach you. And when will your business actually begin? This is obviously, once again, a date. We can go back and do that same date that we talked about. Are you doing business as? So are you going to file for a company name? This process is a little bit different. If you plan on calling yourself maybe Golden River Insurance Services, or I don't know, Palm Tree Insurance Services, Emerald, Diamond, whatever it may be, you have to have that name approved with the state of California before you're allowed to use it. Once again, that's a totally different situation. We'll cover that in our how to set up an independent agency class. But if you are going to use a DBA, you would enter that at that point. Let's just say no at this point because I'm buying for an individual. Do you currently have insurance? No, I'm brand new. Good business address for you. I'll just put the office here. And the city. Whoops. State. Zip code. All pretty easy information so far. If required by law, do you and your employees maintain current and valid professional training, certifications, licenses, or designations? The answer would be yes, because you have an insurance license. Does your business provide insurance placement or advice for any of the following? Aviation. And you're going to notice a lot of this stuff starts to get more and more like there's a big possibility of a big problem, right? Airplanes, growing food, working with HMOs, lawyers. Ooh, you got to stay away from those guys. Long haul trucking, mining. But if you don't work with any of these right here, you can simply click none of the above. Next, does your business provide in the capacity any of the following? Once again, as a creator, an MGA, PEO. And once again, if you get stuck, most likely though, if you're going to be offering individual policies, there will be none to this question. Do you currently have a professional liability policy? So sometimes you might be in a profession like an accountant or an architect or something like that, where you already have some form of professional liability somewhere else on something else you do in business. I'm going to mark no for this because I'm just trying to get it for my insurance business. Do you currently have a retroactive date of your professional liability policy? Once again, it'd still be no because you said no here. What percentage, and this is when we start diving into how we're going to come up with the rate. What percentage of your business will be personal lines? Personal lines are things that individuals are going to purchase. So we just gave some examples here: auto insurance, home, renters, pet insurance, anything you're selling to individuals. So let's just say that you're going to work with 50% individuals, and let's say that you're going to work 50% with business owners. And that would be examples like general liability, work comp, stuff like that. If you're brand new in the business, it would probably, for property and casualty, look more like 80% personal lines and 20% commercial, to be honest. That's what I've seen over years and years. What percentage will be Medicare, life, accident, health? Obviously, 80 and 20 adds up to 100. So maybe you're thinking, you know what, maybe I will do a little bit of life insurance and I'll do 70 personal lines and maybe I'm going to do 10% life insurance. And everything's got to add up to 100 one way or another. Will you be offering annuities or long-term care? I'm going to go with maybe. I don't know where my business will go. This is where it gets a little bit where you have to get some projections. What is the expected premium volume? So I know this is tough, but you have to think of it this way. Let's say you're going to focus on auto insurance, and let's say that your average client is going to pay $2,000 a year in auto insurance. And maybe you're really shooting to get 100 clients in the first year. That would bring your first year's premium to $200,000. So I know this is where we usually help people because I don't really know what I want, but we kind of got to walk through and put some number in. This is what the insurance company wants. What would you like your aggregate limit to be? Most insurance companies that you're going to work with, please check this because we don't want to have to go back and fix it. Most companies want you to have $1 million in aggregate limit for that policy. What do you want your deductible to be? Remember, the higher the deductible, the cheaper the quote. So what are you willing to pay before the insurance company steps in? Like I said, the more you're willing to pay, and let's just go with $2,500. Would you like to include a waiver of subrogation? This waives the right of the insurance company to legally pursue a negligent third party that causes a loss. It is sometimes required by a contractual obligation. This is the key. If you're buying this policy right now and they told you that you had to go get one, you want to make sure that you know the correct answer on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and say no on this one because I don't want to have to pay the bill. I think they should go after the person that screwed up if it wasn't me. And would your coverage for the contingent bodily injury and property damage that arise out of your professional services? Yes, I would. If something happens where they're physically or their property damage is damaged, I would like that covered as well. If you decide not to, I totally understand. It's really just a personal opinion. Hit submit. And of course, we have this whole fun thing where we've got to make sure you're a human. I see motorcycles right there. I see motorcycles right here. And then at that point, we have your information. This link happens to be currently going to Andrea. Here is her personal information, her phone number, and her email so that we can follow up on the quote. But we're pretty quick at turning these things around, so we will get you the coverage as soon as possible. So I hope this little video kind of makes E&O insurance a little bit more clear what's going on. It's not hard to do. Most insurance companies want you to have a license. They want you to have your E&O insurance before they'll actually enter into a contract with you. So it is an essential piece that you have an errors and omissions coverage somewhere. I hope this video makes sense, and if you have any questions, please call us at the office, and we look forward to helping you, and have a spectacular day.